right. So welcome everybody to our event on A&R and management. And actually, since we have a lot of people in here and I want to give a couple of people some time to ask some questions at the end, I'm going to go ahead and get started as opposed to going around the room and having some folks introduce themselves. So again, I'm Alexi. I'm your host and the CEO and founder of Finesse Media. We do these events on a week-to-week basis in order to provide a space for artists and upcoming entrepreneurs or upcoming industry professionals to learn about the music industry in a space where they feel safe to do so. So on a week-to-week basis, we'll have different events from artist management, from A&R, music publishing, yada, yada, yada. The list goes on and on. And this week, I invited Cristina to come on because my really good friend, Mitch Mula, talks about her. Cristina, I'm not even kidding when I say that Mitch talks about you a lot. Like whenever I ask him about how his stuff is going, he's like, oh, Christina's got me right. So
I love him. I love him. I was telling you earlier, he's one of the people that I kind of started with him in management. He kind of just was like, okay, let's do it. That's something you want to do. Come on, let's do it. And I was like, okay. So I fuck with him. Oops, sorry for cussing, but I fuck with him strong way. And he was a friend, honestly, before I even started managing him. So yeah, I love him to death. And just outside of even him as an artist, just as a person, he's amazing. So
yeah. So he told me a little bit of backstory of one of the reasons why, and this is to all of you, why we brought Cristina on was because Mitch was talking about you before you started working for Hallwood. And he was like, this person who used to do these BET shows and just knows everybody in the industry and found all of these artists before they even became famous. She is the one that everybody's got to know. And he was like, I'm about to be managed by her. I'm so excited. And so I brought you on because I've just heard so many good things about you. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in the industry?
Sure. This is a running story, so people probably have heard it before if they've seen any of my other panels, but I have no problem with saying it again. So I always knew I was going to work in the music industry. I didn't know what I was going to do, how I was going to do it. I just knew from probably middle school that I was going to work in music. I ended up going to a school that if you're not from California, you probably are not familiar with it, but it's called Chico State, which is Northern California, in the boonies. But they have a really good business program and a really good music program. So I ended up going there and then I took an internship. So internships mean everything. I believe you learn the most in internships. School is good because they give you the books and stuff, but internships is where you kind of get your hands and feet and everything dirty because you kind of jump into it. So my first internship was at a radio station called KMEL in San Francisco. I did a part of the street team, so that's the marketing side. So I was up early, probably 3, 4, 5 in the morning, doing early street team stuff with them. From there, I went on to do an internship with BET in LA, doing PR in the PR department because I'm minored in PR at the moment. And that's when I realized I didn't really like it. And it's no disrespect to people that do PR because I think it's an amazing, amazing job. And I think it's definitely a talent to do. It just wasn't for me. And again, doing the internship, it just taught me okay, this is what I don't want to do. This is what I do want to do. It just kind of paved the way and kind of guided me to show me what it is I definitely wanted to do. After doing that internship, I kind of started doing tent poles for them. And I think the next one was Celebration of Gospel, where I met Stephen Hill, who was the president then at BET in the music and programming department. And I remember telling him I want to work in the music department, this and that. And he was just like, okay, we'll just apply and talk to this person. So I ended up, long story short, because that was even a long story in itself, I ended up getting the internship in New York and working directly with his assistant, whose name is Antoinetta Harrison, who's still doing great things in the industry as well. But she kind of went on the television side. So she does she produces television. But either way, I started working with her and then doing all the major tempos. So hip hop awards, BET awards, when they still had Spring Bling in Florida, stuff like that, just continuously doing things like that. And then I went back home for school. And after I graduated, Antoinette told me to come sit in for her while she was leaving out of the assistant position to go pursue her career. So I assisted Stephen for probably almost a year. And then from there, I moved on to do talent coordinating for 106 and Park when 106 and Park was still like a thing, you know.
A lot of
And then,
these people on here probably don't even know what 106 and Park is.
yeah, it was like a big deal, you know. So I did that, and then I moved on over to do Music Matters with Kelly G and Omar Grant. And Kelly G is like forever one of my favorite people in the industry. I love him to death. Taught me a lot. And I started working on Music Matters, which is where I kind of got the foundation and my roots of what I really, really wanted to do, which is find new talent and groom them and help partner with them to make them successful. And yeah, did Music Matters. We did stages like South by Southwest, MegaFest, A3C. We did tours with Kendrick. We did tours with we did one with K. Michelle. We did one with J. Cole, with Big Sean. So we were basically like their marketing partners over there at BET. But we did a lot of stuff for a lot of people before they were like super, super big. So that's something I'm definitely proud of working over there with them about for sure. And then I moved on to ASCAP because I didn't want to be in New York anymore because it was so cold. I was like, no, I can't do this. Let me move to California, back to LA. And I started working at ASCAP, and I was with them for a while. So probably about 4 years. And now I'm at Hallwood Media, managing writers and producers, which is crazy because, again, I didn't think that was something I wanted to do because everyone would ask me to do it. And I'm just like, it's a thankless job. I don't know if that's something I want to do. And lo and behold, God said, this is where you're going to go. And a dear friend of mine actually pulled me into Hallwood. His name is Corey Litwin, who manages Murder Beats. So I came in via him, and Neil Jacobson, who's the CEO and founder of Hallwood, hired me. So thank you to both of them. You know, I'm definitely appreciative. And I've been with them for going on a year in September, and it's definitely been like learning curve. But I will say that I have all the same relationships. The conversations are just different now with the same relationships that I've always had. So here I am.
Yeah. You have come a long way since 106 and Park. So
yeah,
that's amazing. And you have some comments like Lottie is saying that you are the music industry GOAT.
I love her. She worked with me for a while too, doing some events and stuff. I love her. She's so great. Always good energy, good spirit.
Yeah, we have a lot of really great people in here. So I see Justin in here. Justin is an artist. We've got Jessica Lois, who is a songwriter, arranger, and composer, who's amazing, whose music we're actually going to be playing. Jessica, you submitted your music late, but we got it anyway. And yeah, we're really excited to have you. So can you tell us a little bit about just the kinds of projects that you work on now? Because obviously, you know, you do A&R and management, but you're not managing artists specifically. You're managing producers, songwriters, and employees. So what does your day-to-day look like? What are some of the things that you're responsible for?
Oh, the day-to-days are different literally every single day. Some days I'm chasing checks. Some days I'm helping register songs. Some days I'm just literally listening to music all day. There are some days where I'm just setting up sessions all day, putting out fires, starting things and starting ideas for clients to work with certain people, strategizing, having conversations with brands, labels, publishing companies for sure. Publishing companies probably the most. And honestly, there's no day that is the same. Every day is different. Literally every single day is different. It's really just about execution, right? Like making a list out of everything that you need to do that day and figuring out, okay, I have a million things to do, but what are the priorities? And just kind of prioritizing the top 10 things and trying to get everything done in one day. And if you don't, it's fine. At least you can try over and over the next day. Like, okay, I missed this one thing that I was supposed to do yesterday, but now it's at the top of my list for today. So there are times where it can be overwhelming, but again, I think having a list and prioritizing helps a lot with that.
What do you think you spend most of your time doing? Are you spending more time? I'm guessing it's probably not searching for talent, but would you say that you spend more time searching for talent, or you're more so in the studio with the producers and the songwriters? What is?
I do not go in the studio too often for several reasons. One is I don't like to interfere with people's creative juices. Like I don't want to be there talking, having conversations if they're there to create. So I just kind of poke my head in, see what they need, kind of talk to them about a few things, and then poke my head out. So I don't do sessions. And not only that, with COVID, it's kind of hard also to do right now too. But what I kind of focus on the most now is listening to music and kind of pointing things out to the producers or the writers, like, okay, maybe if you change this or add this, or maybe if you work with this person, or maybe if you get that guitar player to add this here, it would be better. Or even like another thing I spend a lot of time on is setting up sessions and trying to get sessions in for them too, because you kind of have to pitch them and sell them as a writer and producer. So I spend a lot of time listening to music, setting up sessions, and not going to sessions too often, just every here and there.
That's interesting. A lot of A&Rs are typically, they're like, you've got to be in the studio. You've got to be in the studio. You've got to be.
I do not want to be in the studio too often. And I don't, not to say everyone drinks and smokes, but I don't really smoke, and smoking kind of makes me sick. Actually, I kind of start throwing up if I'm around smoke for too long. So I try not to be in there too often. And again, I just feel like if there's no need for you in the room right at that moment, you probably shouldn't be in there. And not only that, sometimes your ears can be jaded, because when you're in the room, sometimes you're like, oh, this song is amazing. And, because you were a part of the process, you think it's the best thing ever. And then you go home 3 days later, you hear it and you're like, what was I thinking? This is not the best thing ever. So, you kind of got to give your ears a break and just kind of, once they finish doing what they do, give it to someone with fresh ears, could kind of give a different idea and a different interpretation of things that they probably missed or didn't see because they were so closed in on the project right then and there, or closed in on what they were working on.
That's an interesting point. Yeah. Sometimes I'll even be in the studio and I'll listen to a session or listen to an artist perform in the box, and I'm like, yeah, this sounds really good. And then I listen to it later, I'm like, no, that doesn't sound good at all.
Yeah, because you're attached to it, like it's some sort of emotional connection to it because you were there. So it's just like, oh yeah, no, I like this. This is great. Yeah,
that's true. What is the difference between the work that you do as an A&R versus management? Because sometimes people get confused about what those different roles are, and they think that they are the same, but they have similarities and differences. So what does it look like in regards to your role?
Well, just think of it as two different compartments. I compartmentalize in my brain a lot. So I just look at A&R as the creative side and management as the business side. So chasing money, making sure the agreements are in place, making sure things are registered with not only ASCAP, but like Sound Exchange and everywhere else that needs to be registered, Harry Fox, and just making sure things are in order for them, making sure they have a right strategy whenever getting in with certain people, like why, and explaining to them sometimes too, because sometimes they need to hear that, like, well, why should I get in with this person? Because X, Y, Z. So I just kind of separate the two. Again, one is more creative and giving input and listening to the music and vibing. And the other is strictly business. Like, let's talk numbers. Let's talk how to get you from point A to point B. And just trying to get you successful overall,
Now, a really good A&R is usually good at getting an artist or songwriter, producer, whoever they're working with from point A to point B, and like getting them to level up. So what are some things that you do in order to take an early stage artist, or I guess early stage songwriter, producer, from having zero fans really whatsoever to, or maybe a couple hundred or something like that, to the next level?
So are you more so talking about like a following social media wise, or are you more so talking about like industry, trying to help with the placements?
Or anything. So say you have someone like Mitch. Where do you start with someone like Mitch?
So Mitch is like, he's different because he writes, produces, and he's an artist, right? So he literally can do it all. And not only that, he's a businessman as well, right? Like he owns 2 studios and he's just amazing. So he's different than the average, but with Mitch, it was more of a branding thing. So I made sure we got someone who did PR for us. I made sure we had a marketing team. I made sure that everything was done with strategy and having a rollout. Like I just sent him a social media rollout for an EP that he's dropping. So with Mitch, it was just more so about getting him in front of as many people as possible and getting them to realize what it is that he's doing, right? So his last single that he put out was the Chinese Kitty single with French Montana and Fabio Foreign. Like trying to push that as much as possible in front of people's faces. Like he was a writer and producer on that song. And for people to be like, wow, that song is amazing. Who did it? Because, the average consumer isn't really looking too much into the producer. They're more so looking at the artist. So that's one thing I learned about going over to ASCAP is like appreciating the writer and the producer more. So that was more my focus with Mitch because he already had a following. It was just more so branding him more and getting more publications to see him and put his name out there.
Now we have a couple of really early stage artists. So I'm going to shout someone out. Tammy, who's on the call, is actually one of my interns, and she's so shy, but she is such a good singer, and she's trying to make a name for herself in the industry and also get her music out there as well. So her stage is like, hasn't even released music yet, but wants to. What are some things that you would work on with someone like her?
Release your music. I always tell people like it's sitting on your computer or you waiting to perfect it is not going to get people to listen to it. So you need to start with your core fans, which is probably the first 50 people that are on your page. And if one person tells another person, then so be it. But definitely have a social media presence and definitely put your music out there because again, it's sitting on your computer. It's not going to do too much of anything, So it's just getting it out there, push it out there. And I promise you, like, good music always cuts through. It always cuts through. So if you just want to keep on building the fan base, marketing. And marketing could be something as simple as like creating a challenge or, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to be things that you finance a marketing person for. It could be things that you have to be kind of creative and do on your own to try to gain more followers and gain more people to go to your Spotify page or your Apple page to listen more often, because that is the goal, right? The goal is to drive more people to listen. So it's just coming up with creative ideas that are cost effective to kind of get your music out there.
Tammy, did you hear that? I want you to unmute yourself and say yes so that everybody can know that you will be releasing some music this year or next year.
I heard that. I was listening. Thank you.
No problem.
Cool. What are some of your favorite projects that you've worked on in the past, Cristina?
So when we were at BET, we did an album compilation partnered with Sony and Salam Remy. And that was obviously one of my favorite projects because that was the first time I'd ever worked on an album and I wasn't even in like music. I was at a television network still, but we kind of were doing different things on the marketing side. And everyone was on there from her to Big Sean to Jasmine Sullivan. Like everyone. And this was her before she was her. She was Gabby Wilson. And, that was like my first real project that I was just like so happy to do because I had never done an album. And I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Wait, what did you do on that project?
I was one of like the managers and coordinators on the album, just making sure everything was in place. And yeah.
Oh my goodness. I think I would cry if I were on that project.
Yeah, it was really, really good. It was Music Matters Volume 1. And it was actually supposed to be more after that, but things kind of got a little bumpy. But that was the first like album that I worked on. So that will forever be like my baby and my favorite.
Do you still keep in touch with a lot of the artists that you've worked with in the past?
Yeah. And if not with them, with their team for sure. Yes. Yeah. Like I'm like, hers team, like I love them. I love everyone over there. They are amazing. They're like family. I can talk to them whenever and I love them a lot. Yeah.
Do you manage any of the artists that you've worked with in the past?
No, but I work with people who I've met through the artists. Like one of my clients is Keithan, who is hers bass player. So he's a producer and I've been knowing him for years because of being around them. And he also was one of the first clients that I was like, let's just try it before I even was at Hallwood. You know what I mean? He was literally, him and Mitch were the two first ones that I was really like, okay. And there was one other guy, Kobe. He's amazing too. And those three were the first three that I was like, you want to just try it? And we just kind of jumped into it. But to bring it full circle, because of me working with her, I ended up meeting him, and then he was one of the first clients.
That's awesome. How many people are you managing now?
Oh my God. Probably anywhere between like 12 to 15.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
She's a busy lady. Don't bother her, everybody.
Yeah, all these grades are not only from my child, but from work, but it's okay. We make it look good.
That's awesome. Any artists or songwriters or producers that you're working with right now that have any really cool releases coming up? I'm sure all of them have some really cool projects.
Of course. I could do this all day. Mitch obviously has a project coming out August 13th. It's called True Story. It's great. We've been on a ride with this project for a long time. But it's a solid album. I really love it a lot. So that's coming out. Dimitri McDowell, who just put something out on Friday. He did a remix to one of his songs, Contact, and Beam is featured on it. And it's more Caribbean vibe, but it is amazing. It's really, and he's a great writer, period. He wrote for Chris Brown, for Usher, 112. Like, he's written for Wiz Khalifa, Ty Dolla $ign. Like, he's a great writer. So now he's coming out and debuting as an artist. So definitely check that out. And then Christian Lear, he just came out with, it's called Twerk Song, that just came out. And it's great. Everyone got a twerk song right now, but his is more R&B style, and he's like dancing, and he's just like a fine man, and he could dance and he could sing. So that just came out as well. So as far as like them as artists, now I have other producers that have a lot of stuff coming out. I just can't say yet because we're still negotiating things, but a lot of my other producers are coming out with things that aren't for them as an artist, it's more so for other, obviously, artists. But yeah.
Cristina, I love how passionate you are about all of the people that you work with, and not even just the people that you work with. Like, I've seen you vouch for other artists. I've seen some of your panels, and you'll talk about people that you're not even managing as if you were managing them. And I love how much energy you give to the creatives, because sometimes, working on the business side, it's so easy to forget about the creative side and to remember that all of this is for the creative. And so I just love your energy and the way that you approach it.
Thank you. I'm a firm believer that if you are not passionate about what you're working on, you can't sell it to others because you're not passionate about it. It's going to be like, oh, whatever, it is what it is. But that's why the people that I work with, I really have to believe in them to work with them. I'm not just going to be like, let me work with you because you're you. Like, I have to listen and say, oh, I hear the talent there, and I really want to help bring you from A to B. And again, like, it's in my DNA to kind of start with some people that, are still trying to figure it out and help progress their career. But I have to be passionate about the project or the music that they're working on, or else I just can't do it.
How do you know if a songwriter or producer is ready to be managed?
Honestly, management is a relationship. Like, I tell people that all the time. You could be the most talented person, but if we don't vibe right, I can't manage you. So it has to be their headspace. It has to be an understanding, like, managing the expectations, what it is that she can do for me or that I can do for her. How can I make her life easier because she's trying to make my life easier? And just kind of getting to know the person. That's when I'll know if they're ready or not. It has half the time it has nothing to do with the stuff that they have, because we can work whatever it is that they do have. If they have 2-3 songs, we can figure out the rest from there. It's more so their headspace and how they are and how they want to communicate. And that's for me, at least. Other people could tell you something different. They're like, as long as they're talented, I got you. But for me, it's really like, we have to have a good relationship, because I want to have to tell you sometime, like, that's not good. That's kind of trash. And for you to not take it the wrong way, or that is amazing and I love it. And they're like, actually, I didn't think it was that great. And me trying to hype them up and let them know how great they're doing. So again, to me, it's all about like us having a good relationship.
Gotcha. So I know that there are a lot of artists and aspiring industry professionals that we've got in here. I want to ask a question for the artists. So what are a few things that an artist should be doing today, like right in this, after this event? What are some things that they should be doing today in order to make a name for themselves in the industry or to stand out in the industry?
A few things. So one is like, write down your goals, right? And see what small goals you can do underneath those to execute the bigger goal. Because there's always like big goals, but you know, it takes a while to get there. So you need to have smaller goals underneath those. And then also like follow through what you say you're going to do. Like if you say you're going to do something, make sure you do it. Because a lot of people have great ideas, but their execution is very poor. So I always tell people like, make sure you execute. And get your songs out there. Like there are a lot of people that kind of hold on to things because they're like, it's not perfect yet. It's not perfect yet. But it doesn't matter if it's not out there for people to hear it. You know what I mean? It might not be perfect to you right now, but for someone else, it might be helping them in their life or whatever it is they're going through at the moment. And, you know, all creatives are like that. Like I've talked to an artist where I'm like, hey, your song that you put out 5 years ago, is there anything that you would change? And they're like, yes, I would have done this. I would have done that. I would have done this. But in that moment, it was perfect. So let things go and kind of just literally release music and try to gain one fan at a time. Honestly, one fan at a time. Rome was not built overnight, and people think like success is overnight. When I could tell you that a majority of people that are successful have been doing it for more years than you can imagine.
That's a really great point that you made about artists holding on to their music. I just want to take a really quick poll. How many of you in here are artists? Raise your hand. All right, so I see like, oh, there are a lot of you. I'm scrolling through different pages. I think we've got at least 15 to 20. Oh, no, never mind. Oh, wow, there are a lot of you. So, yeah, we've got a lot of folks on here that are artists. And keep your hand up if you have ever held on to a song before, held on to your music and you were choosing not to release it for any different reason. Yeah, there's still a lot of you. Okay, great. So all of you, I hope you wrote down the fact that you need to release your music. Tammy, release your music.
Yeah, you know, you can't gain fans if they can't hear it. So
exactly. Cool. Okay, so now let's segue into the industry professional advice that you would give. So for someone who is trying to make a name for themselves in the music business side, and maybe wants to become an A&R or like the next Cristina Chavez, what advice would you give them? What should they be doing today in order to get out there?
Network. Go to as many events as you can. Talk to as many people as you can. Don't always reach up. You could reach across. I learned that a long time ago from someone, I don't remember who, but people always want to reach up to the super high executives when you could be networking across, because guess what? The people that you're talking to now are the next executives. But yeah, I always say talk to people, just talk to as many people as you can, because even with writers and producers, like you're a writer, you could be talking to a producer, and guess what? You're at home trying to become, you're an aspiring artist trying to become something. You could talk to your friend you just met who's a producer and he's trying to get on, and you guys can make music together. So network as much as you can. And like I said earlier, follow through with whatever you say you're going to do. If you tell someone, yo, we should link, guess what? You should follow up and definitely link. Because if you're telling them that and then they're just all of a sudden now they're like, that's the person that says we should always link, but we never link. Now you become that person. So I try to every single time, like when I see someone I haven't seen in a long time or someone new, we should connect sometime. I'm going to double back the next day. Like, hey, good talking to you. When do you have time to double back? If it's not this week, cool. Next week, next month, I'm totally fine, but let's just figure it out. Because, that's how you build relationships with people. So again, follow through what you say you're going to follow through and network.
That's really good advice. I've noticed that there are a lot of new organizations and groups that are coming up in the music industry. Like we have, Gender Amplified has been around a lot, but Lottie really pushed it forward. We love Lottie.
Yeah. He's been working on that for a while. Yeah.
And then we also have a lot of different college clubs that are starting, like Kit Kat Fisher, who's on here, who is who is an artist manager. She started Musicians of Color Association. And there are a lot of other organizations that are coming about. Are there any organizations that you would refer people to in order to get more involved in the music industry?
1500 Academy is amazing. I don't know if you guys know what that is. 1500 or Nothing Academy. They're amazing because they're like a crash course of like the industry in itself. It's like they're going to give you everything at once. Their program is intense, and from my understanding, it's intense, and you're going to literally meet with amazing people that are really, really in the industry. Them, what other programs? It's another program that when I was working at ASCAP, Girls Make Beats or something like that. Girls Make Beats, and they're small girls and they're like learning how to make beats and be DJs and stuff. That stuff was really cool too. I like that a lot as well. But that's the only two I could think of right now. Sorry.
Did you have a mentor in the music industry?
Yeah, so it's a lot of people that kind of helped me, I feel like, open my mind into the music industry. One of them was definitely Salam Remy. He's amazing. Love him. I talk to him very often, and he is definitely my guiding light sometimes where I'm just like, I need help with XYZ. And he'll just like talk me through it. Kelly G, who I mentioned earlier, who was my old supervisor, he taught me so much. And mainly it was because of me listening. So like every meeting he would be in, he would allow me to sit in there and I would just listen and then talk to him about it later. Like, why did you make this decision over that decision? Why this, why that? And it was never to question like his decision making. It was more so to understand his way of thinking. So him too, Antoinetta Harrison, she was like the person who put a battery in my bag and put some fire under my feet because she made me work. And of course, Stephen Hill, he was great too. Like he was hardcore also, but he's so smart. Like he's very, very smart. He was a math teacher first, funny enough, but he was great too, taught me a lot working under his desk too.
So I want to pause here for everybody to write a few things down to take away from some of the things that Cristina has talked about. First of all, kindness and good energy and passion for what
goes a long way.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So everybody in here, if you want to, I mean, this isn't the only way that you can find success in the music industry, but a really great way to network is to just be kind and to continue meeting other people and giving people your time. I think a second great takeaway is to network. Obviously, it's so important to meet different people all across the board. And then there was a third thing that you had said about, it was putting your music out there. So that one, I think everybody needs to put down here.
Everybody, right?
I'd actually love to open up the floor to a Q&A. If you don't mind us getting started with a Q&A a little bit early.
Not at all.
I've seen a lot of questions in the chat, and I think some folks would benefit from hearing. So let me go ahead and give you all ability to raise your hand. Oh, actually, you already have it. So if anyone has any questions, go ahead and use the raise hand feature, and I will call on you. Please keep it relevant to the audience. Like, don't go asking about how to get your music into, I don't know, video games, since this isn't really the place for that today. We are talking about A&R and management and Cristina's background. So first person I'm going to call on is Miss Lottie. If you'd like to go ahead and unmute yourself.
She knows everything about me. I don't know why she wants to ask questions. No, just kidding. Hey, girl.
Hey, I really just wanted to say hi, low-key. And just want to say, I'm always rooting for you. I think you're amazing. It's been incredible seeing you transition from ASCAP to Hollywood, and that's it.
Thank you. Yeah, Lottie has been there. She's a great networking person, you guys. She knows how to get in a room and work the room, you guys, for sure. That's one thing she definitely knows how to do. And always kind, by the way.
Oh, I appreciate you so much.
Of course.
Yeah. If anybody wants to get their foot in the door, go follow Lottie and follow everybody she follows, because she follows everybody and knows everybody. Cool. Thanks, Lottie. Justin, you're up next.
All right. Can you hear me? Just testing my mic out.
Yep.
Good. Again, thank you, Lexi, Finesse. Always dope events. Hello, Miss Cristina. I have a two-part question here. My first question is, first let me say congrats on your promotion. But prior to your promotion, was there one thing that you saw that when you got promoted or got to this space that you are now that you wanted to explore, change, or start? Maybe the company wasn't doing that you saw needed to be done because you could do it.
No, this company that I work for is amazing. Like, the people that have been doing it for a while. Like Neil was the president over at a label. So his idea was more so to be an agent in this industry, you know, quote unquote agent, because we can't call ourselves agents yet in California, from my understanding. But he wanted to kind of have hands on the writer producer side. So the only other side that was missing was the artist. So that's why our focus is only writers and producers. It's not really artists too much. Just a few of my clients, I do help with that because like I hold them dear to my heart. But yeah, no, there's nothing that I would really change there. Like I said, I've been learning so much from them that I'm just like appreciative. Like, wow, I didn't think of things that way. So it's when you come to a new place, I always say kind of just listen for the first few months, because the questions you might have, they probably have answered. They're going to answer for you really, really soon. And not only that, it's just kind of allows you to kind of see the swing of things, just observe, you know?
Yeah, I kind of consider it like blended parenting. You know, you got to watch before you start telling the kids what to do if you're new to the family.
Yeah.
My second question is, so I'm definitely consider myself, I say an indie A&R. Very easy to find talent. I work with talent, produce, write. I'm a musician as well as an artist. And I have this one particular artist that we finally reached the milestone of going gold. And so
Congrats.
yeah, thank you. But I'm having like this hard time of, you know, how much more work do I need to do to get him in other spaces that he's not? Like it's kind of right in front of me, but at the same token, I want to be an A&R for sure. Like I consider that now, but you know, at the level that you are, and people respect and know when you work with me, this is what you get type of thing. So any tips with just, you know, having a milestone like this and trying to navigate, you know, should I be trying to get a role at an established company, or should I maybe stay and keep this in the pocket and use that as my way to get in further? Like that's kind of what I'm
Honestly,
battling with. So
I think you're doing a great job independently. If you have someone that's gone gold already, some A&Rs don't even have that. So like, I think that you're doing a great job. As far as if your goal is to be in the industry, then obviously, yeah, shoot your shot. Definitely try to get in there as much as you can, network as much as you can, go to all the events, keep on pitching your artist. And not only that, because you said it was an artist, not a producer, right?
correct.
Uh-huh. Keep pushing your artist forward, because I guarantee the labels will start reaching out to you. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
if you constantly push them and they see that the numbers that this person is doing, they're like, who is this independent person doing a great job? Oh, okay. Then they're going to all start trying to find you and have you do something with them, believe it or not. So I honestly say, just keep on doing what you're doing and then they'll come find you.
But thank you so much for that.
Of course. And congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats, Justin. Everybody is cheering you on in the chat, by the way. Awesome. Alan, you're up next. Alan is an aspiring, or no, is not is no longer an aspiring A&R. He is an A&R now.
Thank you, Alexi. And Alexi, thank you for introducing me to these events a couple of months ago, because these have been great and I love them. And Christina, thank you for taking the time to be here. I love Christian, by the way. So just, I put in the chat, just being in the same room with like someone that's, you know, manages him is just epic to me. So Justin actually sort of touched on the question that I have. So as Alexi said, I'm currently working with an artist, and I started working with this artist at the advice of an A&R executive at a panel that I went to late last year. He said, you know, Alan, you should stop waiting for permission from a record label to be an A&R. This is like stuff that you can do now. So find you a local artist that you believe in, that you really like, and just reach out to them. So that's what I did, and I'm working with a singer right now. But I would say, as far as A&R on the producer and songwriting side, because I am a songwriter as well, I just got an opportunity to co-write with this Dallas artist, and it's going to be coming out later this year. So I'm passionate about songwriting as well. So when it comes to A&R on the songwriting and producer side, what tips would you say someone like myself should start focusing on just to kind of build that network of the behind the scenes professionals? Because I'm really good at just, you know, at reaching out to people. I went to business school and, you know, we had to network all the time. So I'm really good about reaching out to people. But what would you say is a good tip to sort of just build those connections of, individuals on the songwriting producer side when it comes to A&R?
So I always like to listen to all people, right? So I listen to producer writers, and then once I start having a conversation with someone, oh, you should work with such and such, he's great. Oh, you should work with such and such, she's great too. As a matter of fact, let me connect y'all because y'all will work great together. And that's honestly what I do all the time, even with my sessions, like, or even not in my sessions, when I have a meeting with an A&R and they play me a new artist that they're working with and they're like, what you think? I think he should get in with such and such. And it won't even be my client sometimes, but I know who will work good for them. And just exactly because you're listening and you're trying to put the pieces together. So, and then also when putting things together, creating the sessions, you should also tell them to collab with multiple writers and producers too, because people always think it just has to be one producer and one writer in the room. No, it could be more than one producer and more than one writer. Make them collaborate amongst each other so they also learn how to kind of be creative and share the juices with one another. Because if you're in a room with another writer, they could inspire something in you that you're like, damn, I didn't even think of it that way. So I always say, like, cross-pollinate as much as you can with multiple people. It doesn't just have to be one writer, one producer, it could be multiple. But yeah, just connect those dots for them.
Alan, does that answer your question?
I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it definitely does. Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. Also, I just want to get a gauge from everybody to see how everyone's doing. Is everyone gaining something from this? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a little raise the roof. Ooh, if you like this. Ooh, cool. All right, awesome. Alonzo, you're up. Hi, Alonzo. Welcome back. Again, we love you.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey.
Clear,
Yeah.
right? Okay, my question for Cristina. As someone who does work on A&R, mostly on the like film and TV publishing side, when it comes down to like working as a freelance A&R with like artists and labels and just kind of follow up what you said about like, cross-pollinate and connecting dots. What's the best way of sort of doing that, but still getting your credit and compensation if opportunity does happen when you're focusing on that level? Like as an independent A&R, coming, for me, doing from like one lane to a different lane, what's the best way to sort of just, make sure everything is in go after building the trust and the opportunity does come? Like, what's the best way to, what's the best way to go out in terms of like, percentage and, if you're going to be like a producer manager or A&R manager, especially when you have like, one or more producers when you're doing the whole cross-pollination thing, what's the best way to go about it? Like, I mean, especially because like if you do your research, there's examples of like, producer managers getting, screwed over or sort of like bought out, but there was no contract or agreement. When's the best way to like, present a formal agreement to an unknown or to anyone that's established that you really believe in? Like, how's the best way to go after that, especially in this new era of like, social media and brand and all this information that we have out that tells you how to do it, but coming from you for doing it for so long, how do you really do it in this current state, especially with the pandemic and still everyone still being at home still in some capacity,
So you're, just to make sure your question is asked, Your question is, how do you present an agreement to an artist, writer, or producer without it sounding crazy or being too soon or nothing like that, right?
Yeah, to an artist.
Okay.
And I guess, and that can extend to like also a producer and writer, you know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah.
So the way I typically do it is I like to build a relationship with whoever it is that I'm working with, because again, if I don't vibe with you, I don't want to manage you. And not only that, I don't want to hold you hostage in something that you don't want to be held hostage in. Mm-hmm. So I typically do it for the first month or two for free or without a contract sometimes, just to see how it is that we vibe. And then by then you should know if the relationship is good or not, and then kind of present it. Because you have to understand, for them, the era that we're in now, a lot of people are in the mindset of own your masters, own this, own that, don't do this, don't do that, see everything that you sign, which I agree 100%. There's nothing wrong with that. But because of that, people are with their guards up, right? So you just want to make sure that you're kind of like making them feel relaxed and making them feel like they can trust you. So it's all about building the trust and building the relationship. If it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. It's completely fine. You have to understand and accept that sometimes that relationship just wasn't for you, So I typically work with people for about a month and see where it is. And then I'll say, hey, how is it? Do you like it? If you don't like it, completely understand. If you do, then, let's definitely get it started like the hard way or the long way. You know what I mean? Like with getting an agreement in place, because I want to make sure that I'm doing 110% versus me on edge, you know? So it's more so about just making sure that they feel comfortable.
Got
I
it.
hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you so much.
Okay, no problem.
Thanks, Alonzo. I'm actually going to jump to the chat because I saw something from Taylor Thomas, who didn't raise his hand but might not be comfortable with it. So he said, or she said, Taylor can be guy or girl or anybody. So Taylor said, what is some advice you have for someone who wants to network within the industry but deals with social anxiety?
Listen, this is a very social industry. So unless you have some crazy talent and you're working them behind the scenes and people are coming to you for stuff, you kind of have to be social. Like you're going to have to like kind of swallow that and be social, because again, this is a very social industry. You know, people want to make relationships and make music and make history, people that they're really cool with. So yeah, you're gonna have to do that. Unless, like I said, unless you're like behind the scenes, just working OT, doing gold, like my last guy is, and just hustling behind the scenes over and over again. And people are coming to you like, look, I just gotta work. I don't care if we don't talk often, but let's just work, you know?
Mm-hmm. Taylor, can we see your face? I think that's a start. If you're not comfortable, that's okay too. But I see you're on here.
Sorry.
Hi, Taylor.
Hi.
Well, you
Hey,
started
Yeah.
socializing. Hello, welcome. Hopefully that helps. I would
Yes,
also,
it did. Thank you so much.
yeah, and Taylor, I would also say, you know, for someone who has social anxiety, sometimes we all have social anxiety every once in a while, right?
I do too.
Yeah. And it's like, even for folks who have been in the industry for a very long time, or people who have some kind of expertise, you know, it's like we have to force ourselves to get out of our comfort zone every once in a while. And there are days where you aren't going to want to be out in front of the camera. You're not going to want to talk to people, and that's okay. But, you know, just remember that one of the best things that you can do as an artist or someone who's trying to be in the industry is put your best foot forward and put your face out into the crowd so that you can share your talents, whatever it is that you want to share. You know, you're doing a disservice to other people if you don't share that talent with the world, because you might be the best singer or the best producer or the best marketer for that matter. And if you're not sharing those skills with other people, then you're just keeping them to yourself, and other people won't get a chance to experience the greatness that you are.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Taylor. Brittany, I'm going to choose you, and then I think we have time for one more, and then we're going to jump into the listening session. Maddie and Jessica, I see you. I'm sorry we have so many questions, and there's so many more questions in the chat too. But if you have questions that haven't been answered, you can always reach out to Finesse Media, and we can always try to help as well. Brittany, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm like smiling. Thank you, Lottie. You're the best. Lottie, I love Lottie. She co-wrote on one of my singles. But I'm an artist and a songwriter. Christina, I saw you at an ASCAP event, so really excited to be here and be able to talk personally to you. I'm gonna try and keep, because I know we don't have time. So my first question is for like a seasoned artist and songwriter who's been in the game for a minute. I went through management twice, wasn't a good fit. What are some like tips you can give artists to finding management, or should we not be finding management and letting management just find us? That's what's happened to me in the past, but then it just it didn't work out. So what's your take on that?
Well, I've never sat in your seat to say, hey, like, how is it that I should find talent? Find a manager. But what I will say is a lot of people that I do manage have been like a referral, like people saying, hey, this producer is looking for someone, he's amazing, I think you should definitely check him out. So it's always been a referral thing for me. Some of it, it was more like a relationship I had prior to. And then, like I said, as far as the management, I don't know what your situations were before, but definitely, I can't say this more often, like you have to have a good relationship with your manager, because it's literally like a relationship. It's a marriage. You know what I mean? You're with them for whatever period of time, and you got to trust them, and you got to have an understanding. They have to have understanding, manage expectations and everything else. So, especially with your goals, because they have like your career in their hands, right? So they have to know what your goals are and help manage, okay, you want to be this superstar, but this is where I could probably take you within the first 2-3 years. And again, it's just having that relationship where they can tell you how they feel and no one feels like away. Or if you do feel away, talk about it, you know?
Right.
So again, it's more like a relationship thing.
Yeah.
For me at least, you know, that might not be for everyone, but for me. And then as far as finding management, yeah, like it's all about referrals. Like at least on my side, I do find talent sometimes where I'm like listening on the internet and I'm like, who the hell? Let me go ahead and search this person and figure out who they work with, because I do want to work with them. So it's happened to me definitely a few times. Most of the time though, they've already had management, and there are some that don't. But even the ones that do have management, I'll still work with them in some capacity if I really, really like them. For example, it's this one kid out here in LA where I heard his music the first time and I thought, oh, it's cool. And then when his second project came out, I was like, no, I fuck with this project now. And his manager was like, so what's up? And I'm like, you want to co-manage? So now me and his manager are co-managing him because he's so great. You know what I mean? So it also could be putting your music out there, someone hearing it and reaching out to you about managing you.
Okay, awesome. Do I have time to ask one more question, or I don't want to be selfish?
Yeah, I want to jump to Corinthian actually, Brittany.
Sounds good.
Thank you
so much. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, one last question. Corinthian, you are up.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So first off, Alexi, Cristina, thank you guys for putting together this platform today with us. For somebody that's a up-and-coming artist manager from the Bay Area, one of the main questions I had asked that I want to figure out is if I'm doing management, right, and I'm working with clients, like should I consider having an LLC around what it is that I'm doing? That way, like wherever talent that I'm working with, like I know how to stay organized as far as agreements and contracts and and all that kind of stuff, or just
it's always good to have a company, because with a company, you're not held liable, if that makes any sense. So I think it's always great to have your own company, especially if you have several people underneath you, for sure. Yeah.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm from the Bay too, so whoop, whoop.
There we go.
Area.
Your area in the building. Let's do it. Oakland.
Hey.
Frisco for me, baby. Frisco for me.
Fairfield Vallejo.
Okay, 415. Hello.
Hey.
707. 415.
707.
It got real crazy.
707. Let's go. Hey, you know it.
Cool. Thanks, Corinthian. All right, y'all. So we are going to go ahead and jump into the listening session. Does anyone need to go grab some water or take a bathroom break? Cristina, you good? Do you need to grab water or anything?
No, I'm good.
Cool. All right, y'all. So the listening session, so we do this almost every single week. And one of the reasons why we host this listening session, actually, there are a couple of reasons. One is because it's a really great way for you to get your music in front of music industry executives. It's really hard to get an industry executive to listen to your music sometimes. So, artists are sending their music out all the time. So that's one of the reasons. Another reason is because it's an opportunity for you to get feedback, which is always really important. And the last reason would be because we want to give you all an opportunity to gain additional fans. So usually, if your music is good, which usually would try to make sure that the music is at least decent or ready to be played for everybody, then you'll usually get some fans afterwards. So hopefully you all have a really great experience. Feel free to chat in the chat, and Cristina and I will be giving some feedback for the artists that have submitted for this weekend. So let me go ahead. Oh, sorry. Hold on one second. I hear something in the background. Do you all hear something in the background?
I don't hear anything.
Oh, it was just the YouTube live going off. My bad. Cool. All right, y'all. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And then Cristina, feel free to be as open and honest with your feedback here. This is an opportunity for them to to get some constructive criticism.
Okay.
So let me go ahead and just share my screen really quickly. Brittany, you are up first. We're gonna play Window by Brittany Crush. Here we go.
Living the fast life, can't trust. Lots of love in the stardust. So it makes it kinda hard for me to fall. But I won't know if I don't even try it all. So baby, come and sing my way. It's 80 degrees and I'm on the highway. I don't got much time and baby, this ain't child's play. I can't waste none of my time, that ain't my game, my game. Show me what you got, I know what I want. I really hope you bout it, but you know that I'm bout it. Oh baby, show me some love, show me some love. Cause you know just what I came here for, just what I came here for. Cause I've seen so many things, been around the world, but I need you right now. Baby, pick up, baby, pick up. Cause I've seen so many things, did it on my own, but I need you right now. Baby, pick up, baby, pick up. I need you, baby. Can you hear me from my window? Said I need you, baby. Can you hear me from my window? Chasing money and power, I just need you with me in the midnight hour. As long as you hold me down, we gon' run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up. So baby, what's your mindset? Are you tryna be with me or is your mindset? I'm not only here to talk, not tryna slide flex. I'm not tryna rush, don't have much time left. Can't approach me with no Rolex. I need my baby, he got something timeless. And I never play with checkers, only like chess. I be making moves, you can't expect less. Show me what you got, I know what I want, I know what I want. I really hope you bout it, but you know that I'm bout it. Oh baby,
I like that.
That bass line is so crazy. Like, it's
Mhm.
crazy.
Christina, what any constructive feedback for Brittany? Oh, you're on mute. I'm not sure if you can hear.
Sorry, yes, I muted on accident. I was saying that the bass line is crazy. Sorry, 1 second.
That's okay. Christina's got her daughter in the background. Brittany, I love that. Brittany, I've heard a couple of your songs and you are so talented. Oh, you're on mute, by the way. So you're welcome to unmute yourself if you want.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're super talented. I think the first time that I heard your music was when Lottie played it. Like, you hadn't even come to one of our events and Lottie had played
Brittany's that girl, man. Like, she knows, like, I'll be with her in the session and she be singing and I'm like, yo, this girl's voice don't make no sense. She crazy.
Yeah.
Lottie. Thank you, Lottie.
Yeah, Brittany, you are super, super talented. So whenever Christina is able to,
I'm available. I was just listening.
Okay.
I was saying, like, that bass line was super crazy. I loved whoever was on the bass did a great job. And then obviously your voice is phenomenal as well. And I love how, like, you have literal, like, it's a real track. It's real live instrumentation. It's not just the beat. And that's like my thing too. Like, I love true instruments in music. So yeah, that's great. Definitely keep that up. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you, Christina. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Brittany. Do we have Ketchy on here? I know Ketchy shared some music. Is Ketchy here? Nope, I'm not seeing Ketchy. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next person. So we've got Icarus by Elsie. Let me just share my screen again. One moment, y'all. All right, this is Icarus. 1 second.
I tried playing with fire.
y'all. All right, Cristina, any feedback?
I love the electronic vibe feel to that. It just had me in a zone. Like it was really, really good actually. Voice was great too, and it stood out because sometimes people, when they do like kind of vibey music like that, the track takes over the vocals, but the vocals stood out and it stood on its own. You know what I mean? So I really, really love that.
Yeah, Elsie is actually one of our artists that we just signed to our management. So, woo, Elsie, we love Elsie. Cool. So let me go ahead and share our next guest. Yeah, thanks, Elsie. Let's see. So next up, we've got Shine Robbins, who is submitting Masculine. So let me go ahead and play this for you. Oh, and before I start this one is actually, Shine is a producer. All right, that was Masculine by Shine Robbins. Cristina, any feedback?
I don't have any feedback. That is a genre in itself that like it's very custom to certain people that really, really like it. For me, that's not something I feel like I can critique just because like I'm not a master when it comes to that category. So I don't want to say the right or the wrong thing, but I mean, I love the creativity.
Yeah, Shine, thank you for sharing that one. That one was interesting. I liked it. And I think that I've heard some of your music in the past too, and I've listened to some of the beats that you've sent in. You have very different styles. And so one of the things, because Shine, I know that you just applied for our VIP membership program. So one of the things that I think I'll want to work with you on is just trying to figure out what exactly you're trying to go for, what kind of sound you're trying to go for, so that we can find people to work with for you. All right.
Thank you all so much for the feedback. This is an upcoming song from my upcoming debut EP. But yeah, thanks again, y'all, for listening. Thank you, Alexi and Cristina, for the feedback.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Next up, we've got Miss Lottie with Back Pockets.
Single out these bitches like a roll call. Who's next up? Can't have more than one star. I got more shine than the whole boulevard. Guess you wanted options, so you slipped up. That's your fault. Tripping up a double dutch. It's too bad that you don't know what you lost. You ain't tryna wipe this, but you wanna keep me in your back pocket. You know when you call me, I'll be right there. So you're trying to keep me in your back pocket. Yeah, you know I ain't with that shit. No, no, I ain't gonna let you keep me in your back pocket. Am I just another notch? Your belt? ain't trying to.
Ooh, Lottie.
Okay, Pin. I see you with the pin game.
Yeah.
Lottie, like seeing the progression that you've like done over the years, knowing you is like so crazy. Because I remember you playing your first song in my office.
Oh
Like,
my God. Yeah.
so like even
My
your
first
writing,
was
I
LA.
could tell has like progressed so much. Like you know how to come up with great concepts and stuff, and how to get people hooked to listening to more. So, and obviously your voice. So like I love it. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That was Samira Finley singing that one, by the way, just so everybody knows. Samira on vocals.
If anybody ever works with Lottie, she will put you on like crazy and she will talk about you and submit your music everywhere. Just letting you all know that. Cool. Thanks, Lottie. And next up, let me just see who we've got. We have got Can't Do Without Love from Justin.
If God is a woman, I ask her, what do women want, what they after? Every time I think I know a woman, I don't know a woman. Confused by a woman, been abused by a woman. Accused of your abuse and not being there. Dang, woman, wave if your curves, but your words worth more. Women value is the word God made you. I'm faithful, only date you. Home run, I brave for you. Rush down the highway to save you. I see through the veil, hair curled over the hell. Marriage can't hide yourself. Break up, no makeup, make yourself. Love pampered pretty, the ugly truth take you down like a bully. Love only hurts if you wasn't in it fully. At least she gave me keys to learn. I contemplate, was it love or lust that got me heartburn? Am I ready for love? Am I ready to love? It's like love, love, love. I think I'm ready for love. I think I'm ready to love. It's like love, love, love. Man, I don't want no love. I don't need no love. It's like love, love, love. We need love. One love can't do without love. If God is a man, I ask him, why are your woman so attractive? But the same beauty takes my freedom like taxes. Never think to respond. They reacting. A good man cool until the fan breaks. Can't ventilate the weight to her face, so we wait. Provoked by your voice, I can't escape the pain inside my veins. I shoot like a Mamba at his last game. 20.
Ooh. All right. That was Justin, Can't Do Without Love. Christina, what do we think?
That gave me real old school vibes with the vocals. What is, I can't even think of his name right now. But very old school, like East Coast vibes for sure, where it's mainly about the lyrics versus the track in itself, because it's very simple, straight to the point. With the punchlines. I hear you. Alicia Keys with the keys.
And Justin, you have a music video out for this, right?
Yes. Thank you, Christina. Yes, video just came out, I think about 2 weeks ago. So I put a link in there. Definitely check it out. It really, I think, brings out the song and the lyrics of the concept that I was going for. So
Nice. Cool. Thank you, Justin. And then last but not least, let me see who we've got. We have got Jessica Lois with Your Late Submission. But
Sorry again. Bad guys.
We've got What Are We All Doing by Jessica Lois. Here we go.
I'm not here to make friends. We should all get it tatted on our foreheads. We're all topics trying to trend. Everybody's trying to eat, nobody's getting fed. Repeat, recycle, defend. Ideas imprinted in our heads. Gotta hustle, get the bag, gotta spend. And you can sleep when you're dead. Cause everybody knows the shit is broken. The cracks have been showing. Don't act like you don't know it. We just keep walking like we don't know where we're going. Going through the motions, but emptiness unspoken. What are we all doing?
vocals were freaking crazy. Once you get like a really, really, really good, like, don't get me wrong, the production was great, but when you get a really, really good producer, like a dope producer that meshes well with you, it's going to like be off the hook. I promise you. Because vocally, even the vocal arrangement, like, you know how to arrange very well, and that's actually a talent that a lot of people don't have. Like, they can do lyrics very well, but they don't know how to do the vocal arranging. And your vocal arranging is great. Even like knowing when to have it peak and when to have it drop and have people want to listen to more. Like, I think that was fucking fire.
Thank you so much.
Oh
my gosh, thank you. And yeah, speaking of producers, like, I'm a pop girl. I feel like I'm like the only Black girl that makes pop, even though that's not actually true, but we're underrepresented there. So if there's any pop
I have a client that's just like you, Black girl, that does pop, and she is crazy. So yeah, it's not too many, but the ones that are, fire.
But yeah, if there's any pop producers out there, I'm down to work. So thank you so much, Cristina, and everybody for the compliments. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
of course. I definitely have a few producers in mind for you actually now.
Oh, really?
But yeah.
Can I DM you about it and ask you about it?
You sure can.
Thank you so much.
See what happens when you all come to Finesse Media events. Cool. Jessica, that was awesome. I got a lot of like Adrian Balon, like Cheetah Girls, Disney Channel vibes from it.
I'm a Disney girl, so
yeah,
I'm like smiling internally.
I love that.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, that concludes our listening session. What did you all think? Did you like the music? Were you like, I fell asleep? Give us a little woo woo, or actually unmute yourselves if you like the listening session, and give me a little woo woo. I love you all. Thanks, y'all. All right, cool. So that concludes our event for today. Thank you all so much for being a part of our event. Thank you to the artists who submitted some music, and obviously to Cristina. Cristina, seriously, thank you so much for being a part of this. Like,
thanks for having me. Sorry I had to get off the screen for a while. My daughter is like the real boss of this house. So when she like comes in, I have to mute and turn the cameras off. And that's how all my meetings are. So I appreciate you guys like being understanding when it comes to that.
Yeah, no worries. Cristina, I'm going to tell you right now, this is probably one of the events where we've gotten the most messages about people thanking Finesse Media for putting on this event.
I'm glad. Like, good for everyone. I love that.
People love you. So what I will do is I'll just share. Is it okay for me to share your Instagram here? So folks can connect with you. And then do you have any last pieces of advice for any aspiring artists or industry professionals or producers, anyone trying to make a name for themselves in the music industry?
I think I said it time and time again, just network, get that music out, and, you know, strategize across with the people that want to do the same thing as you. You know what I mean? Like, you guys want to do it, might as well just do it together.
Awesome. And last but not least, if anybody wants to continue coming to our events, we have these events every single Saturday. So next week we are hosting, actually, what is next week? Next week is a sound engineer panel, and we haven't announced this yet, but we are also inviting a special guest. We've got Nick Lee, who co-produced Industry Baby, coming on to the event.
I love him.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's such a sweetheart. Oh my God.
So we've got all these different folks. We've got Glow, who's one of the engineers at Mitch Mula's Stadium BK studio. And then we've also got Alexis Engineers, who is amazing. So feel free to join us for our event next week. And Cristina, thank you again so much. And we will.
Thank you guys. I enjoyed every single one of you guys, and thanks for listening.
Yeah.
I hope I helped somebody.
You're the best.
If Cristina helped you today and you got something out of today, unmute yourself and give us a little woo woo.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Best.
I'm gonna make a little clip of this and put this on Instagram or something. All right. Cool. Thank you everybody so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We will see you for next week's event. Cristina, again, thank you so much for being a part of this event. We love you.
Of course. Thank you guys.